The two dividend stock companies that I have is SLG and Main. So I think if you just wanted to see that, then the video is pretty much done. But if you want to see how much of both of these companies I have in my stock portfolio and how much money I had to invest inside to get 100 euros per month out, then continue watching this video and I'll show it to you in super detail. So welcome guys to another video on Brand Advice where we talk about business and finance. My name is Bharat, and in this video we are going to discuss not just the two companies that I have which are paying monthly dividends, but also the other three recommendations. So a total of 5 companies that you can take a look at if you want to get dividends monthly and not quarterly. The main reason I'm not a huge fan of companies which are paying quarterly dividends is it's just such a long time to wait. Imagine you have a cash flowing investment and you have to wait for that investment to give you some kind of cash every 3 months. I think this is pretty painful. And of course, a lot of people, they design their portfolio in a way that you're getting dividends every single month. But I still find it better that there are like companies which are again like giving you consistent dividends every single month without having the quarterly drama whatsoever. So of course, when I was starting my research, I was taking a look at seekingalpha.com. I think a lot of interesting news and stuff you can directly find here. My main criteria for choosing a dividend stock company was that it must not have fallen in crazy amounts in the last few years in the capital value or in the share value. Because what is the point of like putting money inside a dividend stock company when you see that after a few years the net capital that you invested, it's already going in minus. This was the issue with most of the monthly dividend stock companies that I saw, but 2 of them really stood out to me. So if you take a look at the gain, so Gladstone Investment, you see that it was like previously what in 2006 or something, it was $13 or something, and now it's like again back to like $12 or something. So essentially in the last 15 years or something, you did not gain anything other than the dividends. Now the dividend yield is very interesting. You're like having 6% dividend yield, so like this definitely combats the inflation that you're having. But I still want a company which is both going up in value because they're like into some kind of interesting projects, they're expanding, and it is becoming more lucrative for other investors, and also the companies which are paying out monthly dividends. The second one that I found really interesting was Main Street Capital. So since it started like back in 2007 or something, and it went through the entire financial crisis of 2008, it had been going up, and it has been able to keep its dividends, and it has been able to consistently pay them out at 6% dividend yield, along with increasing the stock price, and I found it like super interesting. Of course, you can learn a lot more in detail about what the companies are doing and everything in the investors presentation. So for example, I can quickly show you. This is the one for SL Green Realty. So here you see what kind of properties they have, what kind of revenue growth they are taking a look at, and what are their predictions for the future, what kind of problems they're facing right now. So they have to be super transparent in all of these things. So after going into these presentations, you can decide, okay, like, is this a interesting company that I still want to invest in? For example, Main Street Capital, I really like the way they had been like doing the business so far, and the management in Main Street Capital has been like rather very communicative with the investors, so I found it super interesting. So what Main Street Capital essentially does is, if a privately held company, so for example, I have a company which is a private limited, Brand Advice Consulting SRL. If I need some kind of credit or something, I need a loan, and maybe the banks are not providing me the loan, so Main Street Capital is going to like give them the loan, but they're going to charge a higher interest rate for that. And this is the reason they're also able to pay higher dividend yield. So they say that they have been doing it for a long time, and then there's a portfolio of companies. You can go to like view all companies, take a look at what kind of companies and stuff they have been helping so far on the website. My computer is loading super slow right now, but you can do that. It's not dramatic. So that's the thing. And if you take a look at the dividends on Seeking Alpha, you click here, and then you take a look at the dividend history. Dividend history so far had been very consistent. So I'll quickly take you to this, and we go to the 10-year section. So you see they had also been paying out irregular dividends in the middle. So they give you some extra perks of being an investor with them, and that kind of declined in 2020. So in 2020 they did not grow their dividends. This was pretty much the only year when they did not grow their dividends, and I completely understand it because of the entire pandemic situation that is happening right now. I really like this company. Then you have AGNC Investment. Of course, it has been a big thing for many people, but I kind of find it really weird because first of all, the share price dropped heavily over the long time, and also they had been doing some dividend cuts. Any company, if they do a dividend cut even once, for me that's a no-go, because if they did it once, what is stopping them from doing it over and over and over again. So this was something that I had to like really keep in mind when I was like selecting the companies where I could put a lot of capital inside. So I'm going to like tell you how much I have in SL Green Realty and Main Street Capital, both of them. But for example, if you take a look here, they had been just like decreasing dividends. Even when they were paying quarterly, they had decreasing dividends, and now they're still decreasing dividends. So they just recently increased it. But like, again, this is the kind of company I do not want to be around. If you take a look at Main Street Capital, they had been paying dividends throughout the financial crisis and everything. And this is something that I really, really like. Then SL Green Realty. So this pretty much contradicts to what I had been telling you, that I don't want a company which has fallen down massively in value. But the reason why I'm really holding on to SL Green Realty, and I will also be investing a lot more money in the future, is because it is the biggest. So I will take you to their website. They are the largest owner of office real estate in New York and in New York City. So like, even though right now everybody's doing the work from home and stuff, but I can tell you as a business owner, like, this is not a good feeling at all. Like, work from home is highly inefficient. Even for employees, they are working a lot longer than they would work otherwise in office, because there is no, let's say, distinction between the work time and your private time. So I can definitely imagine like people going back to offices like once this entire pandemic is done and things like going up, with full boost again. And the thing with like the office real estate is that most of the times you have very long leases. So you have leases of like, 10 years, 5 years, 20 years, and especially in a city like New York where the prices are crazy. So like they try to already get into a longer lease so that they are able to have not so many rent increases throughout, this duration of time. So really like SL Green Realty, and they have been there from 1999. So like since the time when I was 4 years old, and they have been like, paying out dividends consistently. This is something I really like. Also, I was able to buy them really like just absolutely dirt cheap, because when the crash happened, I was taking a look at the dividend companies which I can buy very cheap. So I was able to buy them. I'm not able to see the average buying price right now because my portfolio is still moving from Trade Republic to Scalable Capital. I have 2 positions left, which is Main Street Capital and MSCI World ETF, which is still there on Trade Republic. But unless all of this is transferred to Scalable Capital, I cannot see the average buying price or something. So for this, I will make another video for you guys. Don't worry about it. So here, if you take a look at the dividends, you go to dividend history. And if you go down, you see that they paid a irregular dividend recently. And then they had been increasing the dividends like again. Previously, they were just paying out dividends quarterly, and now they have started paying out dividends monthly. So for me, this was a no-brainer. I just got them and I'm going to hold on to them for longer. Another company that you might take a look at is Gladstone Capital. So this is also a business development company, so BDC. You take a look at the max value, so it again like dropped down heavily in value, and I think the dividend cuts had also been a bit crazy. Let me take a look. So the dividend has been consistent, but this still means that the dividend yield changes. So for example, if the stock price is really high, dividend is less, the dividend yield is less. But if the stock price is very low, the dividend is high, it increases, of course. But again, like this is not the kind of company I want to be invested in when they are not able to grow their dividends, and the inflation is maybe just killing more of your dividends every single year, and also the stock price is not rising. So this is the problem that I see with most of the other, let's say, companies and stuff. For example, I was investing in the starting of the pandemic in Johnson & Johnson and like P&G and all of these companies. But first of all, the dividend yield is very less. It's, I don't know, 2% or something. And then afterwards, the growth in the stock price, that is also very less. This is a lose-lose situation for me. I don't want that. So I would rather have some amount of my money heavily invested in the dividend paying companies which have been paying dividends at a higher price for a longer duration, and the rest of the capital in growth companies, for example, Tesla, Square, PayPal, and other companies. So this is the strategy that I am following right now, and I think like this is also like decent. And I'm also happy with it so far. So recently, if I like show you the dividends right now, the SL Green Realty, the 60 euro dividends that I received, and this is after taxes got cut. Before taxes, it was $96.45. But of course, then I had to like do the conversion from euros to USD. So the broker had to do it. And afterwards, you see, I still had to pay the Kapitalertragssteuer and the Solidaritätszuschlag for Germany. And even though I received it on 16th March. So you have to keep this in mind that this happens after the ex-dividend date. of the company. So you can take a look at the ex-dividend dates, and if at that time you were still in Germany, so these kind of taxes will still be deducted. I've posted all of these things on Instagram, brand advice, so if you haven't been following me there, you can follow me. Then other one was Main Street Capital. For this I have 323 shares. Now if I quickly show you, for Main Street Capital I have how much money invested inside. I have 10,612 euros, so with a profit of 2,000 euros or something. So I was able to buy them really cheap. I'm still going to buy more of this company in the future. On Scalable Capital, I already have my SL Green Realty there. I have 19,000 euros invested inside. Until the time I have 50,000 euros invested in total in SL Green Realty and Main Street Capital, I would have somewhere around, let's say, 200-300 euros of monthly dividends, because again, for me, the taxation rate is also going to go down, because in Romania, you're not paying 26.375% in capital gains tax, but you're just paying like 10% or something, and on dividends it's like around 5%. I still have to like confirm these numbers, but it's very less compared to Germany. So this would be of course nice, because the tax reduces, and that means like I have more of my money left for me. So this is something I'm also looking forward to. Now in the end, I will just tell you one thing, like if you just think about this entire story, would you rather have 30,000 euros lying around in your bank account when you are just giving out negative interest rates on that money every single year to the bank that you're with? So for example, Volksbank and stuff, and Sparkasse, Commerzbank, all of them have monthly charges. You're paying first of all in the monthly charges to the bank from the money that you had saved aside. Then on top of that, sometimes you also have the negative interest rates. For example, N26, they recently started that any money that you put above 50,000 euros in their bank account, they're going to charge, I think, minus 0.5% or something yearly interest rate. I find it horrible. Why would I want my money to decrease in value when I can actually put it inside dividend paying companies or in growth companies where I can let my money work for me? I can sleep, and then in the morning when I wake up, I get a nice notification on my phone which says that Main Street Capital sent out 41 euros of dividends, or SL Green Realty sent out 60 euros on dividends. And I really believe this feeling of getting a dividend, like getting money while you're still sleeping, it's such a strong feeling, because once you understand that you can get 1 euro per month in dividends, that means you can also get 10 euros. That means you can also get 100 euros, 1,000 euros, 10,000 euros. So this is how I keep myself motivated and on track to invest money in better places, because I really do not believe in just like letting the money lie in the bank account or something. I think 10, 12,000, 20,000 euros or something, it is good amount that you have in your bank account or something if you really are super conservative with everything. But any money above that, I would rather put inside the stock market, because if the world is supposed to go down, then the banks are also going to close. Your money is not going to be safe anywhere. Then another place where you can really diversify is also like, you know, cryptocurrency. Like I still think that there's still going to be some kind of utility for it in the future, like there still is right now, but I think this is going to get more and more mainstream. So I'm really looking forward to it, how it develops. In cryptocurrency, I also have around 30,000 euros invested inside, and I will put the screenshot right here. So if you want to start investing in Germany, you have a lot of like brokers. Of course, you have Trade Republic, Scalable Capital, Consorsbank, Comdirect, all of these. But if you're taking a look at the best rates, like Scalable Capital still provides the best rates on the market. So if you haven't yet opened your depot with them, you can do that with the link given in the description. And the other website links and everything I'm going to put inside the description too, so that you can do your own research when you're making any kind of financial decision. Of course, don't listen to a random guy on YouTube. So that's pretty much it. If you have any kind of questions, let me know on Instagram. I post pretty much daily there, and I'll see you next time. Bye.